What's going on, everyone? This is Fighting Words with Kevin Shelz. I'm Shelz.
Kev, 8 Count Sports. 8 Count Sports. What's going on, bro?
Chilling, bro. Some crazy fight night last night, bro. UFC 297.
OD. We got two end news, actually. We got two end news. The history of the UFC and those divisions, are shaping up. Bantamweight on the women's side is taking a new face with Amanda Nunes leaving and crowned a new champ last night. But we'll get to that. But first, we got to get into the middleweight championship. Bro. Yeah.
Sir. Let me start it off. I did in the pre-show I did predict Plessis walking away with the belt. I predicted KO within the fourth round. This was a very, very close fight. This could have went either way.
Yeah.
And my philosophy with championship fights, to beat the champ, you have to beat the champ. And admittedly, I can't say that Plessis exactly beat the champ in a decisive way that, where I always say will grant him the championship because he fully established his dominance over the previous champ. To me, man, this is a situation where I think it deserves an immediate rematch, bro. I'm not mad at Plessis won. Like I said, it was up in the air, but just because of how close that fight was, I just feel that a rematch needs to happen. What I would say is Strickland did way better than I thought he was going to do. Like his takedown defenses was better than I thought they were going to be. So kudos to him on that end. It seemed like if you look on Strickland's face, Duplessis' face, there was way more damage. Of course, after there was way more damage.
Yeah.
So there was that visual, like that cookie over his I believe it was his
left eye.
His left eye.
Yeah, his left eye was jacked.
It was a serious one. It was his left eye. That was a serious thing over there. Like that was a serious cookie right there.
Yeah. A good old fashioned eye jammy. You know, call it an eye jammy.
Put that steak on it.
And that was pretty early in the fight too, because it started to puff up in the first round. By the time they got to the end of the second, you knew it was going to be a problem.
Yeah. The pace from both of them. I always said that it's like when during the pre-show I said it was like this fight is gonna be when a unstoppable force meets an immovable object, because both of them pressure on their opponents. But what I would say is that what Duplessis had over Strickland is that he was dictating the pressure. He was the one that's applying that pressure, and that's what made me say that I thought was gonna make him the victor when we did the pre-show. I always felt that he was gonna put on more pressure, and that's what he did.
Yeah.
But going back to Strickland again, his takedown defenses were impressive. Even when he was taken down, he was able to get back up pretty fast.
Right.
So it was a very close fight, man. It was a very, very close fight. I even though I just say to beat the champ, I did have Plessis walking with the belt. But I'm gonna say it again, man. I think that the performance from both those guys calls for a rematch, an immediate rematch. But it doesn't look that way. It doesn't look that way. But
it doesn't look that there's gonna be a rematch. Okay,
I don't think so. There's too many. There are too many. I'm gonna let you go first, and we're gonna talk about the implications for a rematch. I'm gonna let you go first. What you thought about the fight? What you thought, Kev?
I thought it was a good fight. I texted you during probably the middle rounds. I thought Duplessis was gonna gas. I really did. He was throwing heavy punches. He was throwing heavy punches, and Strickland shut him down in the first half of the fight, I thought. But Strickland shut him down, dressed down in defense, and was more efficient. He was the more efficient puncher. But the thing is, in Strickland shutting down Duplessis, I think therein lies the issue. He didn't apply enough offense. He didn't I think he was accepting of, me shutting you down and landing when the opportunity is right. He kind of relied a bit much on that, and Duplessis for his his activity, even though it wasn't always effective, it was telling. It was, as the fight wore on, body shots and things like that. He really poured it on towards the end. So this is a toss up to me. I think it's the difference between being efficient and being effective. So. Oh man, I definitely think they do need to run it back.
Exactly.
I can appreciate this fight. Du Plessis, boy, he had an unusual gas tank. Didn't he? I mean, he was just going.
But he even said that was part of the strategy. He said the first couple of rounds they were just feeling Strickland out, and the plan was to gas him out. So. Right there, he was saying he was
weaponizing
his
that
cardio.
Much activity to gas him out. That's wow. I'm surprised he still had that much left towards the end of the fight.
And he was weaponizing his his cardio.
Yeah.
I mean, I was gonna say, tell you the truth. You don't think he did that somewhat to Whitaker in regards to pace?
Bro, I mean, it didn't go anywhere. It was 2 rounds. I mean, you can. That's like a.
I mean, in terms of pressure, like that pace, that consistent.
Yeah. But the thing is, but what I'm saying is that's the other half of that is if you use that pace early, the downside would be what happened. Look, we didn't get to see what happened late in the Whitaker fight. It was over before before it really got heated up. For him to have that kind of pace, I'll give Du Plessis a lot of credit in effective adjustments. I think he started to bring the punches down to the body. He scored takedowns and things like that. He's just versatile. He did a lot of things in that fight with Strickland, even though I felt that he was efficient in what he was doing. It felt like it wasn't enough in spots. It did feel like it wasn't enough. It felt like there were certain rounds where it was like, okay, I think Strickland's winning this round. There's a takedown. Who won that round? Like Strickland didn't dominate the rounds. And I felt that that's something he's going to have to work on. He's 30. He's still pretty young in the game. So I think he's going to have to work on the championship level, implementing his offense more with that spectacular defense. Defense spectacular, but he has to kind of put his foot on the gas a little bit. I think that's something he should work on. He's already a champion already. So, there's nothing wrong with getting better. Yeah. So him getting better is a scary thing, and I think he'll continue to get better. This loss will teach him. If a lot of people felt like he won. So it's a pick 'em fight. I gotta watch it again.
Dana White felt like he won.
Is Dana White gonna give him a rematch though?
Well, now let's talk about it.
Okay then. Okay. Thank you, Dana.
Talk about it.
Always want to give an opinion. Like, come on, man.
You think Dana makes all the decisions though? You don't think there's people?
I think he has. I would think that maybe he doesn't make every decision, but I think he would have a great amount of influence on these things. I think that'll be a fair assessment. Okay, so if you feel that strongly, get that man a rematch. It's not he beat the pants off of Adesanya, who was to that point the greatest middleweight since Silva. He coming off of his greatest win, he beat Adesanya soundly. So I mean, I know, I'm an advocate for champions getting rematched because of the hardship that it is to get a belt in the first place in the UFC. Yeah. And usually I'll say an automatic for a guy that defended at least once. But this fight is such a pick'em fight. I'm with the rematch right away.
And to more Strickland's credit, he beat Adesanya taking the fight on short notice.
Yeah, right. Well, that's a catch-22. That's the catch-22. I think short notice can work in either way. I think short notice doesn't necessarily.
You're right. It could work in either way. So if he had lost, we would have said he should never took the fight on short notice. But that didn't happen.
Yeah. And sometime in preparation,
he took the risk. We have to give him that acknowledgement. Like, you took the fight on short notice. You said, beat the greatest middleweight since Silva. So we gotta throw that in there. He took the fight on short notice, bro.
No, I'm not taking anything away from him. I'm saying taking a fight on short notice is a double-edged sword. It doesn't necessarily mean there's an advantage either way, because on the flip side of that, you could say as champion, I was preparing for this person and now I'm getting this person. Du Plessis and Strickland don't resemble at all in their fighting style. So I get what you're saying. Yes, I give him, I'm not taking credit away. I'm just saying the concept of taking a fight on short notice is not necessarily one way. It's a double-edged sword.
Point noted. Point noted, but we gotta pile that on though. When you take on short notice, you put it all on the line, so you gotta pile that on. Yeah. But this is what I would say in regards to the rematch. Even though I do remember, this is the fight business. Keyword business.
Right.
And the bigger fight is Plessis versus Izzy. If Izzy comes back and admittedly, because this is what I think is gonna happen. I think Plessis' next fight is gonna be against Izzy. And what they're gonna do with Strickland is put him against, I believe, I'm gonna call the name out, Hamzat. And if he beats Hamzat, that's more than justifiable reason for him, because they're trying to give Hamzat an express lane. So if Hamzat beats Strickland,
he's supposed to have the next title shot, wasn't he? Wasn't he supposed to have the next title shot? Wasn't that supposed to happen when he beat Usman? But
that performance wasn't.
But was he supposed to get the next title shot? That's what was said, right? Unless I'm reading something wrong.
Better if he performed better.
Before the fight happened, was he supposed to? I don't want to hear about a performance. Was he supposed to get the next title shot?
Bro, I can't.
That's what I believe. That's what was said. But okay, and the discussion was how would two welterweights, former welterweights who hadn't fought in the division, how's the next guy getting a title shot? Because they at the time were trying to punish Plessis.
Yeah, but remember though, I always say this too. Until that ink hits the paper, it's all hearsay. Don't take it serious.
All I'm saying is, I think there should be. I wish there was a little more consistency with that. I mean, they signed. They promised some guys. They promised some guys title shots, like I don't know, Kobe Covington, who hadn't fought. And I'm just saying, and other guys, they nobody promised Muhammad a title shot. That wasn't a thing.
Bilal Muhammad.
Nobody promised him the title shot. What I'm saying is, when had you heard somebody say if he wins this fight, he's guaranteed, like Covington or Hamzat? I'm just saying. I'm saying you bringing up somebody that's deserving. Let me tell you why I thought Bilal Muhammad name, because he basically did the same thing that Covington did for the title shot. He was the backup. So what I'm saying, traditionally speaking, if someone's the backup, that's a nod saying that you're gonna get the next title shot. No, but it goes back to my point, which is, no, it's not. If you don't have to. It's not. I'm just saying it's not. I'm just calling it. It's normally not.
But it's kind of the standard. If you
it's not. No, we've heard it been said. When I'm talking, I was talking specifically in situations where guys were guaranteed title shots because of certain situations.
There's no guarantees until the ink hits the paper.
But why is it consistent? Right. But what I'm saying, I'm just saying, you're right, 1,000% on the ink hitting the paper. What I'm saying is consistency. I would just like to see consistency when it comes to that. That's all I'm saying. Consistency. Some guys get it.
Cool. There's a consistency. Until that ink hits the paper, that's the only consistency you should pay attention to. That's what I'm saying.
No, that's
people out there, bro. If Dana White says on the press conference, yes, he needs that immediate rematch, until that ink hits the paper, just don't even take it for a guarantee. No, there's no such thing as verbal contracts in this game. You need that ink to hit the paper. And even then, there could be some kind of loophole. But until that ink hits the paper, that's the only consistency you kind of believe in. So the thing with Hamzat is, okay, he could have been promised a fight because of the hype behind it, fighting Usman. But based on that performance and his hand being injured, they wiped that under the rug. And they was able to do so because there was no ink hitting no paper. So Hamzat, they're still trying to find some to justify him getting the title shot, which makes me think that his next fight will be against Strickland.
That's okay. So now he's not fighting for the title. All right. I mean, it is what it is. I didn't make the promise. But that goes to show that these things could be broken.
You know what?
All right.
That's just my prediction. That's just my thought. That's just my input. He could very well get it, but I don't see him getting that. I really see they trying to give that to they're saving that for Izzy. I think that's the next thing,
how about this? How about Izzy not being ready to fight yet? Have we heard anybody? What was the quote prior to us coming online on the air? Plessis called out Izzy after the fight, and what did Izzy write?
He said, never stole no shine, never lost mine.
Okay. So did anybody say Israel's going to be fighting the winner anyway? That's never been said. So maybe we might be looking at du Plessis against Hamzat. I think that might be more logical. I'm not saying that should be the next fight. I'm just saying, looking at it, Izzy said and initially he was going to take time off, right? That was the initial statement. Okay, now UFC, you know how they are about giving rematches. They don't really particularly like to do that. So I wouldn't be surprised if Hamzat ends up fighting du Plessis.
I'll put my money more that if the next title shot doesn't go to Izzy, it go back to Strickland before it goes to Hamzat.
That's what should happen. Matter of fact, it should be going to Strickland right now, to be honest with you. It definitely should be going to Strickland right now. This is what should be happening. Yeah.
It should go to Strickland right now, and when Izzy comes back, he should be fighting Hamzat. If you're trying to give Hamzat that express lane to the championship, or give Izzy a justification. Because remember, Izzy's coming off a loss. So I don't see it really why he should get the next title shot right away. But
I mean, technically, it's not the next. You're saying that you don't see why his next fight should be a title shot coming on based on a turn.
If you're coming off a loss, if you're coming off a loss from the logically speaking, it should go right to Strickland right away.
Yes, and based on the performance, that's what it should be. But like you said, it's a business, right? The fight business, right? So there's got to be.
All just based on but the fight business dictates the biggest fight.
Yeah.
du Plessis' biggest fight is Izzy. Izzy's biggest fight is du Plessis. Period in the story. So if we're gonna follow the money, I see the next big fight for du Plessis is, man, Izzy the last style bender, bro.
All right. Fair enough.
That's how I see it, man.
We both agree that Strickland, they should run it back. That's the summary. It was an excellent fight.
He should get they need to run it back.
Yeah, excellent fight, man. All right, so you want to talk?
I know. Well,
how do you feel before we get to the co-main? How do you feel about the middleweight division altogether, though? The direction it's going in. I mean, and initially, for so long, Izzy held it down with an iron fist. And he took on all comers, and you saw a lot of dominance and what have you, a lot of style, a lot of dominance. How do you feel about this? Where the title in the last, this title has changed hands since Izzy lost it to Pereira. It's been a revolving door as far as champions. How do you feel about this as opposed to the steady champion at middleweight?
I think the legitimacy of the title right now is solely based on that rematch. That's what I say.
Oh, okay.
The solid legitimacy of the belt. Like, to me, that's why I feel if it runs back and du Plessis beats Strickland again, then I'm gonna say, okay, we have a solid champ in du Plessis now. But right now, because of how the fight went, the fight's still up in the fight was up in the air type situation. We got the champ in du Plessis, but not everyone's confident that he even won the fight. So that means not everybody's confident in the champ for the middleweight division.
Okay, all right. That's fair. That's fair.
That's what I feel, bro. Like, the legitimacy of that belt is solely attached to that rematch.
Okay.
Unless Izzy comes back and stir things up again.
Well, that would, to me,
let's say Izzy beats du Plessis, then again we gotta have.
That's what I'm saying. Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So,
it would go back to Strickland, right? Right.
For the rematch between du Plessis and Strickland, to me, is imperative for the legitimacy of that belt.
It is. I believe so. I believe they should run it back. UFC doesn't with rematches. They're so but
speaking of money, Strickland is a big star.
Oh,
and I think du Plessis, Strickland too would be bigger than.
But in South Africa,
that would be a huge card. That'd be a huge card.
The first, you on board with that? That's the first real African champion.
I mean, why wouldn't I be on board with that? Are you not? Is he not an African?
I said first real African.
So you got
according to the quote, I'm just giving you Duplessis' initial quote from way back when.
Duplessis is an A1 shit talker. He knows what he's saying. He's a heel. He's technical, but he knows he's poking the bear when he says what he says, bro. I'm gonna be the first real African. But what? Let's put in the concept of what he said. Born in Africa, raised in Africa, training in Africa, taking the belt back to Africa. Let me ask you. Let's be real. Let's take it back. No. Let me ask you this. Here, I'm about to say something real quick. Do you think it's controversial to say if someone were to tell you that the greatest rapper of all time is Eminem? Do you think that's controversial?
If somebody gave their opinion and said that, nah, I don't think it's controversial based on his actual work. I wouldn't popularity, work, sales. I mean, there's things that you could put a suitcase out and make a case. So I think it's controversial. You know what? Maybe that's just me. That's just me. But that is a controversial subject altogether because
exactly.
Yeah, the subject in itself.
It's probably not the most to a certain subsection of people, that would not be a popular opinion.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Some people say like he's a guest in that household. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you.
You know what I'm saying?
I got you.
So for me, Plessis falls in that same line kind of right now.
Yeah.
Let's be real, just on the color of his skin. So
if we be honest, right. The initial.
Let's be real, but Plessis said
based on the person he's attacking with it. It's a combination. It's not just that. It's based on the attack.
What's crazy? He never attacked anyone. He just threw it out there and
come on now.
It was a bait.
There you go. There you go.
When you bait, you don't attack. Baiting is not attacking. Baiting is just throwing it out there and seeing who comes to it.
Wait a second. I got it.
If Izzy didn't say nothing, because think about who spoke on it. Izzy and Usman, the two people who could in reality face him in the octagon for that title. But guess who didn't say anything about it? The baddest man on the planet, Ngannou. Why? Because it really has nothing to do with him. So it was a bait to whoever was willing to come to it. So this is why I'm saying he's the number one ish talker. Like that's just,
yes.
It's psychological warfare, bro. Like I'm
but
basing my whole.
But can you? Here's the thing. Yes, all you're saying is right. But there's levels to baiting. There's levels. He threw bait out. If you know your target, you could say he threw it out and just whoever bid on it. But if you understand your target, you understand saying this is going to get a response. You know. All right.
No, let me rephrase what I'm saying.
Okay. You made it sound like he just threw it out there and was like, nah.
Let me rephrase that. No. I said that in a post you saying that he attacked. He didn't attack, he baited. But he knew who was baiting. He knew who he was baiting. But in order for you to bait someone, the other person has to take the bait. That's how it works.
But there's a target.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. All right. So that's good.
Let me say it again.
Right.
When you bait someone, which means he's baiting someone, the other half is that person has to take.
Yes, he was specifically baiting somebody. Yes, got you. He
was baiting the champ.
There you
go. Champ took the bait. To me, I was just saying that as opposed to attacking. When you attack someone, that person doesn't need to. There's no the other person has to do something. You just attack the person. The person don't even have to do anything. You just gotta keep attacking that person.
Right.
The person could be silent. Just keep attacking that person. But when you bait, you say it. If the person stays silent, the bait doesn't work. Yeah. That's the difference. So and that's why I say Duplessis is an A1-ish talker. That bait was an atomic bomb.
Yeah.
And it worked. It probably worked better than he thought it would work. Based on that promotional plug that Izzy made when he walked in the octagon after Duplessis went over with him.
Oh yeah, right.
Got me. It makes me want to see that fight. I want to see that fight.
Absolutely.
I'm on my 2023 Christmas list.
Exactly.
For fights for 2024, it might happen, man. It might happen.
You are 1,000% right. I think the division now is in a better place. I think, and that's no knock to Izzy's reign. He was spectacular. When you have a long reigning champion, it's a marvel to behold, especially somebody as gifted as Izzy. But now the story. What I always say about these fights is not just the athleticism and the skills; it's the storyline.
The
storyline. Like these storylines, bro. Like now,
the story's the most important part.
Yeah. Without giving a prediction, I'm just telling you, based on what I've seen from Izzy in his last 4 fights, I don't know if he could be any of these people anymore, and I don't know what to point to because of that. I don't necessarily think that Sean Strickland and them got so much better. I do think it's a little bit of evolution, and it's a little bit of an Izzy that's 35 now. I think they've caught up to him. So it's so compelling to see what happens when he gets back, because he didn't just get beat by Strickland. He got dominated. Like that was a bad loss, and that's coming behind the whole Pereira thing. So it's so much to unpack here. You know what I mean? So it feels like every time Izzy gets in the ring, his career's on the line now. It's you know what I'm saying?
Crazy, right?
It's crazy. It is crazy. So I think now it just the intensity, the whole everything about it now is just like, even the guys that aren't Izzy that's fight. Like this fight yesterday, we was ready for this fight for a minute. We was like, nah, that's a goodie. Like the other matchups look good outside of Izzy. Like I'm waiting to see what Hamza looks like fighting another middleweight this time. Like these are all, these are all that division just took off. Out with the old, like remember Robert Whittaker was the gatekeeper for the belt for so long. Like, no, if you're gonna fight for the belt, you got to beat him. We ain't even. No more. That's not even a conversation no more. It's like everything just evolved, bro.
Like this the next generation of middleweights coming up right now.
Yeah, it's the now.
Yeah,
and it's the now. It's crazy. It's crazy, bro. Well,
speaking of a fight that doesn't need a rematch. I'll let you take the lead on this one, Kev.
In the co-main event, we had Raquel Pennington against Bueno Silva for the bantamweight belt, in which Amanda Nunes vacated once she retired last year. I know with Shelz, I know there was some controversy in regards to Nunes' retirement. She didn't fight Juliana Pena. We know how you feel about trilogies. Unfinished trilogies. It was, I wouldn't say maybe for some people. For me, I don't necessarily think it was a stain for me, but I would have liked to see that conclusion to that whole situation.
We need closure, bro. We need closure.
Yes.
We need closure.
Yes, but the bantamweight division is a new chapter now. You think about all the great champions from Rousey, who started off, to Miesha Tate, to Holly Holm, to Miesha Tate, and to Nunes, who just held it down for the longest in dominant fashion. And now, it turns into another page to Raquel Pennington, who's been there from the beginning, seemingly 35 years old. She really put it on Bueno last night, Bueno Silva, with her attacking style, that kind of rough and rugged, walk you down kind of style. Yeah. She gave Silva. What were your thoughts on the fight?
She gassed her out. Pennington gassed her out. She gassed Peñas out. I mean, the first couple rounds, it looked. The first couple rounds to me was Pennington's best round. Like she looked like she was going toe to toe with her, and there was even a moment where she almost caught her in a submission.
Bueno almost had her.
Yeah, she was second round. She was on her back, had her in a chokehold. Like she almost submitted her.
Yeah, almost.
As the fight went on, Buenos was like she was tiring. Now there was a I believe it was after the third. There was a moment where after the round, Buenos was sitting down looking at the floor, like tired, bro.
Yeah, she was done.
Like you saw she was getting tired. The way the fifth round ended with Buenos on her back, on her hands, like she had no more fight in her. She was tired, and Pennington took her into deep waters.
Yes, she did.
She wasn't able to swim. That's what it was.
Definitely.
That's what it was.
That's what I saw. This is what, when you talk about experience and ring generalship and those things kick in. You know, a lot of times going into the fight, Silva was seen like the more versatile of the fighters. When you look at what both fighters can do, Pennington is pretty straightforward. She wants to walk you down, throw a volume of punches, load up on some, and really rough you up. That wouldn't work. She actually had a title shot against, if anybody remembers, she actually fought Nunes. She got a title shot and I think in 2018. That fight was a rough fight for her, and that style didn't mesh with Amanda Nunes, trying to walk Amanda Nunes down. You need plan B immediately. She didn't do that, and she took a bad beating to the point. I don't know if you remember, but there was controversy where people felt the referee should have kind of maybe stepped in a little earlier. It went to a decision, but she had really she took a lot in that fight, and she took that experience, worked her way back to the top. Bueno, before the fight, was, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, was challenging her resume, challenging Pennington's resume, who she beat, who she fought. And what she did have that Bueno didn't have was the experience. She went in there when she didn't panic when Silva had her back, and Silva had her back maybe 2-3 times. She didn't panic, and she turned the fight into her fight. And it was Silva that started to fold as the rounds went on. You know, she showed a lot, veteran savvy, and it's looking like it's going to be Pena against Raquel Pennington, which is interesting because they haven't fought, because they've both been around for so long, back almost the inception of the belt of that bantamweight title, the Ronda Rousey era. And now those two at 35 years old, they're about to tie it up seemingly once Pena gets back. So I think that division with Nunes being gone, I think it's going to be an interesting division, because Pennington and Pena are a little long in the tooth as it is age-wise. You're talking about 35. I don't see them being champions for the next 3 to 5 years, 2-3 years. So,
and honestly, to me, that Pena's shadow still looms over that division.
Pena's?
Definitely, bro. Definitely. Like. It was so funny. I was watching one of her interviews on Air Hawaii, and then she was saying breaking news: Pena and Silva fighting for the interim belt. And waiting my return. And you know what's funny? Even that's not the case, it's like, bro, until she comes back, because this is the one that she accomplished one of the biggest upsets in UFC history and beat what we consider the female GOAT in combat sports, in MMA. And her coming off a loss and not finishing the trilogy, and her being out, there's still a question of how much more she has in her. When she comes back, how is she going to perform? So is Pennington holding the belt on borrowed time, waiting for Pena's return? That's my question. That's my question.
Bro, I feel what you're saying, and I personally agree with what you're saying. I think that's what the narrative should be, but I don't think that's what the narrative is. I think that I think that the consensus is, and we talked about this before, people feel that her win against Nunes. This is not me and you.
No, I feel you.
I called the win.
It was a fluke.
It was a fluke, and when Nunes fought her again, she set the record straight. I think that's why you don't, bro. How much people were calling for the trilogy? I felt like it wasn't a lot. People were very dismissive. I'm not, and that's wrong.
I'm not even.
I'm just. That's just the temperature that I'm feeling in the room, and because of that, I'm
gonna go further than you.
Yeah.
You say dismissive. I say disrespectful.
Yeah.
I say disrespectful.
I agree. And because of that, I feel like the shadow over the division, which should be Pena. I think the shadow is coming from Nunes still. I think because Nunes left on top, it's one thing when you get beat. Like, let's say Izzy. Izzy left after losing we already know it's a settled thing. We didn't see that. When a champion doesn't lose and they leave, especially the GOAT. We talking about the GOAT. This isn't anybody that just won the belt one time. Yeah. This is the person that was cleaned up. It leaves that there. And I think her shadow is still there. And even overshadowing Pena to a degree. Me and you agree. my whole take on the thing, which differs from you, is I feel that, you can't lose. I felt like Pena was in the spot where she won it, and when you lose leverage. You kind of lose that.
You lose leverage, yeah.
You do kind of lose that, but I do agree with you. I think that Pena is the one that is being, which seems to be a common theme. She'll tell you that it's been her whole career she's been disrespected. But yes, I agree that Pena should be top dog.
You're right. Nunes, the fact that Nunes was there in the front row.
Yeah.
It was like the queen watching,
Yeah. The puppies.
You know how big, in that rap, Biggie said, in the other Kings' rap thing, the siblings, nothing but my children. It's like that.
Yeah.
That's the feeling I got. And that's the tragedy of an unfinished trilogy.
Well, for one party.
Say it again?
For one party.
No, I'm saying just for the overall, definitely for one party, for in this case Pena, but I'm just saying just for the overall, I think for the fans, the narrative, because the only reason, here's the crazy thing, the only reason I'm saying Pena's shadow looms over the division, because Nunes is retired. That's the crazy part. That's the only reason I'm saying it. Because if Pena wins, right? You're right, you still have the shadow of Nunes. Through no fault of Pena, because Pena wants that trilogy fight. But Nunes says it. I remember in her after her time during the press conference, she said something to the gist of, you guys will always have to, like, I'm the best, and everyone will just have to deal with it. No matter who comes after me, you'll always have to know that I'm the best. And that's the tone she set right there when she left. Like, to me, that's like rubbing salt in the wound right there. Like, letting them know, like, listen, like, it's gonna be so crazy that you're not gonna get the shadow of Nunes won't be cast off that division until the next generation of female fighters comes up. There's no connection to any of them.
I agree with that to an extent. I think there's one narrative, and I'm siding with you when I say that. There's one narrative that can push, that can kind of not necessarily eliminate Nunes' shadow, but kind of put pressure on her to kind of change a narrative. Right now, the narrative is that Pena, I feel like that's the narrative, that Pena, it was a flukish win. Pena can change that narrative by dominating, because she's still there. She has the win. If she could dominate Pennington, if she can pull off a dominant win, we got Valentina that might be going into that division. If Pennington in her next, I would say 1 or 2 fights, puts the pressure, wins these fights and starts talking, because that's
Pena.
Yeah.
You mean Pena?
Pena. If she can start talking, chirping, because I brought up Valentina because I'm saying Valentina may move up in weight as well. She may move up. She hasn't done good at. I don't know if she's going to get a title shot in the previous weight class. I think that was strawweight or flyweight. She may be moving up. Remember, she beat Pena before. These are matches. Pena can change the narrative with results, and just continue to, because the one thing she does have is the win and an unfinished trilogy. Right now, listen. MMA fans are fickle. Entertainment fans, sports fans are fickle. It's about what have you done. If the narrative can change,
not for me lately.
Pena with that loss to Nunes now has to do more. It's what it is. It's like that. So it's still up to her, bro. Can she deal with Pennington? I think she can beat Pennington. Yeah, I think she's definitely has the ability to beat Pennington.
Well, here's the crazy part. We don't know when she's coming back, so we'll see who has the title by the time she comes back. So
yeah, right.
If beat Pennington.
True. Yeah, man.
We just gotta wait and see, man.
Definitely.
Gotta wait and see. But there you have it, guys. Tell us what you think won. Do you think the middleweight belt's in the rightful place in the hands of Plessis, or you think they cheated Strickland And how do you feel about and how do you feel about an immediate rematch? Do you think an immediate rematch is imperative, or do you feel someone else deserves a shot at the title next? Maybe Izzy, maybe Hamzat. And also, on top of that, tell us what do you think about the co-main? Do you think that the shadow still looms over the women's bantamweight belt in the form of Pena or Nunes? And like what Kev just said, what do you think Pena could do to change that narrative? Until then, guys, please like, share, subscribe, hit notification button so you know we come up with more content. And I'm Shelz.
Kev, 8 Count Sports. Appreciate y'all.
Yes, sir. And this is Fighting Words with Kevin Shelz. Spread the words, guys. Peace.
Yep.